Here we are in Act 5. Have your book ready because we're going to read along together. As I read, I'll stop and share some insights. Act 5, Scene 1, you read on your own, but I do want to address a few things and we'll talk about it in class some more as well. But boy, Act 5, everything comes full circle. So everything Shakespeare brilliantly set up in the beginning of the play is going to come back to us at the end of the play. And we certainly see that in Lady Macbeth. Remember, Macbeth in the beginning said, "Stars, hide your fires." He wanted everything to be dark because he wanted to commit these horrendous deeds, right? And so he calls on the darkness. Where Duncan had mentioned about when when Malcolm was going to take over one day and succeed him as the king, that the stars in the heavens would shine. So we have Duncan talking about the light, and we have Macbeth saying, "Stars, hide your light." Well, now we have Lady Macbeth. And if you noticed in the beginning of scene 1, the gentlewoman talks about how Lady Macbeth commands for light. She can't be without it. In fact, she doesn't want to be in the dark. The gentlewoman says she has light by her continuously. 'Tis her command. So Lady Macbeth does not want the darkness. There's something repulsive about it, scary, fearful about it for her. And of course, this scene, she's talking in her sleep, but remember, sleep is murdered. She's disturbed. She's having nightmares. She's falling apart. So remember, in the beginning of the play, I told you they would switch places, and they had. Macbeth was the one was like, just wash your hands, right? No big deal. Guilt's gone. Put on a bold face, she said. And Macbeth was the one that was fearful. Well, now Lady Macbeth is the one who is fearful. They've switched places. And look at this image, this picture, right? She talks about in Act 5, Scene 1, that all the water of the oceans could not wash her hands clean. She says, all the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Nothing will clean her. She is plagued by guilt, plagued by the thought of what they have done, and she is undone. Do you remember in the beginning, she said to Macbeth, "What's done is done." Look what she says now. This is on page 165. In her sleep, she's saying, "To bed, to bed. There's knocking at the gate. Come, 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 come." She's kind of lost it, right? "Give me your hand." And then she says this, "What's done cannot be undone." The truth has crashed over Lady Macbeth. She is plagued, filled with horror at the deeds that they have done. And Shakespeare brilliantly began these threads at the beginning of the play. Now he's tying them up for us. Super cool. And then the doctor says this, "More needs she the divine than the physician." There's nothing the doctor can do to heal Lady Macbeth. She needs the divine. Well, who's the divine? She needs God. And then later he says, "God, forgive us all." She needs forgiveness. And this is a picture of sin. This is a picture of the effects of sin. And she is undone. That's 5.1. You read that on your own. Let's walk through 5.2 together. 5.2 begins with drums. It's a scene of war. Let me see if I can move this forward. I'm not sure if I can. Here we go. Okay. And I inserted a picture from the Revolutionary War. The British are coming. The British are coming. Because look at the opening of 5.2. This is just a character that we haven't really seen, just a lower character, Mind Teeth. And he says, "The English power is near. The British are coming. The British are coming." He tells us that he hears news that Malcolm, Malcolm's uncle, Seward, and Macduff are on the way. And interestingly, they're going to meet these guys at Burnham Wood. Hopefully that rings a bell from your previous reading, right? The witches told Macbeth, you have nothing to worry about till Birnam Wood comes marching your way. And Macbeth is like, good deal. Trees don't move, so I'm all set. Well, Malcolm, Macduff, Seward, they're on their way with troops from England. And so these lower characters, my teeth, Chitinus, Angus, Lennox, they're all going to go join the band against Macbeth. Whereas Macbeth, he's inside his castle and he is fortifying the castle. He really doesn't have anybody left. And he talks about that a little bit. So let's walk through it. The English power is near, led on by Malcolm, his uncle Seward, and the good Macduff. Revenge is burn in them, for their dear causes would to the bleeding and the grim alarm excite the mortified man. Near Birnam Wood shall we meet them. That way are they coming. Who knows if Donalbain be with his brother? For certain, sir, he is not. I have a file of all the gentry. So he's got a list of all the people who are there. There is Seward's son and many unrough youths that even now protest the first of manhood. So even young soldiers are joining them. What does the tyrant? Macbeth. Great Dunsinane, he's strongly fortified. Some say he's mad. Others that lesser hate him do call it a valiant fury. So that's interesting. Others that lesser hate him. So does that mean everybody hates him? And some hate him more and some hate them just a little bit less. They call it a valiant fury. But for certain, this is so cool. Look what Shakespeare does. He cannot buckle his distempered cause within the belt of rule. I don't know if you guys wear belts ever, but what does a belt do? It holds something in. And Katniss says this, he cannot buckle his distempered cause within the belt of rule. He cannot keep hold of his temper, his fury, his anger, his crazy. He's letting his crazy out, you guys. And Angus says this, now does he, Macbeth, feel his secret murder sticking on his hands. Now minutely revolts, upbraid his faith breach. Those he commands, so his servants, move only in command, nothing in love. So Macbeth's servants are not obeying him out of some sense of love. They're just like, they don't like Macbeth either, but they're doing it because they're his servants. Now does he feel his title, and I love this image, hang loose about him like a giant's robe upon a dwarfish thief. Angus says this about Macbeth. What an awesome image that Shakespeare gives us. Macbeth is too small for his role as king. His role as king is not fitting him. It's too big. Let me say the line again. Now does he feel his title, king, hang loose about him like a giant's robe upon a dwarfish thief. So what is Macbeth? He's a dwarfish thief. He's not man enough for the role of king, and Angus calls him a thief. He has stolen the crown. Let's continue. My teeth says, who then shall blame his pestered senses to recoil and start when all that is within him does condemn itself for being there? We'll march we on to give obedience where is truly owed. Let's go to Birnam Wood. Let's fight with Malcolm. Meet we the medicine of the sickly wheel. Let's go meet the cure. And with him pour we in our country's purge, each drop of us. Lennox says, or so much as it needs to do the sovereign flower and drown the weeds. Make we our march towards Birnam. War drums. Tensions are heightening. And let's look at scene 3. The camera shifts. Now we're looking at Macbeth. He is inside his castle. It's craziness outside his castle, but it's also craziness inside his castle. In 5.1, Lady Macbeth is having this nightmarish vision, speaking out loud. The doctor is watching this. He realizes there's nothing he can do. Camera shifts to Macbeth. Macbeth is undone. Bring me no more reports. Let them fly all till Birnam Wood. Excuse me just one second. Hi, Alex. I'm recording a video. Let me just pause it and then you can talk to me. Pause. All right. So Macbeth, Act 5, Scene 3. He's like, I got nothing to worry about. Let them fly all till Burnham Wood removed to Dunsinane. I cannot taint with fear. Until the woods start marching my way, I'm fine. The witches told me. And the witches are so trustworthy, right? They tell the truth. Oh, Macbeth, you are blind. And he says, what's the boy Malcolm? What is he? What? Was he not born of a woman? Remember, no one born of a woman can defeat him. The spirits that know, the witches, are all mortal consequences have pronounced me thus. This is what they said. Fear not, Macbeth. No man that's born of woman shall ever have power upon thee. Fly, false thanes, and mingle with the English epicures. The mind I sway by, and the heart I bear shall never sag with doubt, nor shake with fear. Okay, Macbeth feels extremely confident. He's kind of like Lady Macbeth at the beginning of the play. Has things to fear, but is not fearful. Should be shaken in his boots, and isn't. Here comes a servant, and he says, he's not very nice to the servant. He's going to call him lots of names. And he says, the devil damn thee, black, thou cream-faced loon. So why is somebody cream-faced? Well, when you're scared, right, your face goes ashen or white, and you're and the servant's scared, rightly so, because there are men surrounding the castle. And he says, the devil damn thee, black, thou cream-faced loon. Where gottest thou that goose look? Why are you looking like that? He says, there's 10,000 geese, villain. Soldiers, sir. Oh, go prick thy face and overread thy fear, thou lily-livered boy. What soldiers, Patch? Death of thy soul, those linen cheeks of thine are counselors to fear. What soldiers, Wayface? The English force, so please you. Take thy face hence. So Macbeth hears, okay, the English men are here. And 10,000, no less. And look what he does. I love this. And I don't know if Shakespeare did this on purpose, but he calls one of his servants, whose name is Satan. Yep, he's calling on Satan. And maybe the British called it Satan. I don't know, but he's calling for Satan. So he says, Satan! Oh, I am sick at heart when I behold Satan, I say. Oh, this push will cheer me ever or deceit me now. I've lived long enough, he says. My way of life has fallen into the sear, the yellow leaf, and that which should accompany old age. He says, this could dethrone me. Okay, these 10,000 men who are apparently outside the castle. And he says, I've lived long enough that I should have these things: honor, love, obedience, troops of friends I must not look to have. He doesn't have honor. He doesn't have love. He doesn't have faithful, obedient friends around him by his own actions. But in their stead, this is what I have: curses, not loud, but deep mouth, horrid breath, which the poor heart would fain deny and dare not. So he's kind of talking out loud to himself, and he calls again, Satan! Servant hasn't been answering him, right? And in comes Satan, or Satan. What's your gracious pleasure? What news more? Tell me more. All is confirmed, my lord, which was reported. And he says this: I'll fight till from my bones my flesh be hacked. Give me my armor. And here's another little picture from the beginning of the play to the end of the play. Remember, in the beginning of the play, first thing Macbeth does, or that we hear of him doing, is unseaming the enemy from the nape to the chops. It's about to happen to him. Sorry, spoiler alert. But it's a tragedy. You knew that, right? Okay. So Macbeth says, give me my armor. 'Tis not needed yet, says Satan. I'll put it on. Send out more horses. Scur the country road. Hang those that talk of fear. So anybody that is scared, just hang them. Give me my armor. Like he doesn't need them, right, to fight against the 10,000 men. And then he says to the doctor who's in the room, how does your patient, doctor? And who's the patient? Lady Macbeth. So he asks about his wife. Remember, in a tragedy, the main character, he moves further and further and further away from people. He and his wife are as far apart as you can imagine. She's undone. He's trying to defend the castle. They are no longer a team. The doctor says, not so sick, my lord, as she is troubled with thick coming fancies that keep her from her rest. Macbeth, look what he says, cure her of that. What? The doctor says, she is so troubled. And Macbeth is like, just cure her. Canst thou not minister to a mind diseased? To just go pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow, raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with some sweet oblivion antidote, cleanse the stuffed bosom of that perilous stuff which weighs upon the heart. Can't you just fix that? Can't you cure her of that? He is as flippant as Lady Macbeth was in the beginning of the play when she said, "It's what's done is done. Nothing we can do about it. Move on. Get over it." And he says to the doctor, can't you just do something about this? And the doctor says, therein the patient must minister to himself. Throw physic to the dogs, throw science to the dogs, throw medicine to the dogs. I will none of it. Come, put my armor on, give me my staff. And so his attendants come and they begin to give him his armor. And he says, Satan, send out. Doctor, the thanes fly from me. Come, sir, dispatch. So he's giving orders to all of these people. If thou couldst, doctor. So he says this, cast the water of my land. So now he's no longer talking about Lady Macbeth. He's talking about Scotland. Find her disease and purge it to a sound and pristine health. I would applaud thee to the very echo that should applaud again. If you can find out the problem of my country and cure it, pull it off, I say. What rhubarb, what senna, what purgative drug would scour these English hence? Have you heard of this? Have you heard of anything that could help me? So he's looking for a quick fix, an easy cure, right? Give me something. Give me a rhubarb, some kind of herb that's going to purify Scotland. Well, what is the Scotland's problem? It's Macbeth. He's the problem. And the doctor says, I, my good lord, your royal preparation makes us hear something. Bring it after me. I will not be afraid of death and bane until Burnham Forest comes to Dunsinane. And the doctor does this little aside. He says, were I from Dunsinane away and clear, profit again shall hardly draw me here. The doctor wants to get out of Dodge. He doesn't want to be in Dunsinane. Dunsinane is not a safe place to be right now. So that is Act 5, scene, well, briefly scene 1, scene 2, 3, 4. We covered everything? I think we did. Or no, 3, 2 and 3. We will read the ending together in class and act out certain portions. Macbeth's in trouble. He is isolated, alone. He doesn't have help, and he has 10,000 Englishmen, along with Malcolm and Macduff, waiting in Burnham Wood. But he has nothing to fear, right? Burnham Wood's never going to come marching up to Dunsinane. Let's read the end together in class. God bless you. Have a good rest of your week.